All right, let me get the chat set up. Make sure that I'm live. Then we will get this thing started. About to be some feedback in the audio. Hopefully I remember how to do this. I believe I do. Oh no. I thought I had it. Let's try one more time. I want to make sure we can see the chat this time. I don't mind taking some time to make sure we're doing this right. I think 800 by 1200. Okay, let's see what we got. There we go. Very tiny. How did I do this? Was it? Give me 1 second, Ratchet. I'm trying to get that chat back up. I can't remember how I did it. And then I'm going to start the podcast. There it was. I believe this is it. My fancy man. Missing the jacket. I wanted to look very professional. It is almost Father's Day, so I wanted to try something a little different. So let me see if I can get the mic out of the way. Got me a little tie going on. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. Thanks for being here, Ratchet. Thanks for being here, Donovan. Maybe in the future, Donovan, we'll get the jacket going. We'll be looking snazzy. All right, all I got to do is capture this to the other scene, and we should be good. I don't know if y'all can see this or not. Window capture. And there we go. All right. Now, shrink that just a hair. Looking good. All right. Ready to get started officially. Hello, everyone. This is the Double Action Gaming Podcast, bringing you video game news, reviews, and speculations from a working class perspective. With the goal of helping you make the most of your gaming dollar, I'm Nathan, your host, and I am honored that you would join me. I ain't got them memorized yet, so it's on paper. Don't judge me. We've got a fantastic show for you today. First thing, let's go right into the releases that happened this week. Now, I am a little behind, so these have all released this week. These are games that you can check out that just came out. We have The Elder Scrolls Online, High Isle, Spellforce 3 Reforced, The Cycle Frontier, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, Green HE Double Hockey Sticks VR, I don't like to say bad words, Mad Shot, Postal Brain Damaged, Pro Cycling Manager, Tour de France 2022, Mario Strikers Battle League, and The Quarry. Now, I've glanced at these just a little bit, haven't really looked at them. The only one that even kind of really interested me was Mario Strikers. I've heard actually really good things about Mario Strikers, but I'm not a sports guy, so not for me. But it does look good. I think people in the genre will enjoy that. Now, maybe you're joining me so far, stupid Mike. Join me this far and you're like, man, I don't really know if I want to watch this kind of content. That is okay. Let me point you in the right direction. Okay. My buddy over at Ratchet Gaming is a fantastic first-person shooter. He's also, some might call him a douchebag. Most people find him very funny. Very real, very down to earth. Check him out. It is Ratchet Gaming on YouTube. He plays a lot of Siege. He plays Ranked. If you join him on PS4, he'd be glad to have you. He'll carry you to Diamond. He is currently champion. So check him out. Ratchet Gaming. He will not pull any punches with you. If you suck, he will let you know. But he is nice enough to carry you. So definitely check him out. Really good friend of mine. Really good Rainbow Six Siege player. He does play Apex. He does play a few other games that I can't think of right now because I've been up since 2 a.m. But definitely check him out. Excellent content. Really, really, really good player. All right. Now, let's get back. I want to talk about a new game on my radar. Now, this is going to tie into the next thing that I'm going to talk about, and it's a funny looking game, but at the same time, I've been fooled a lot this year. I've been very, very inconsistent with games that I thought were going to be trash, and then games that are actually good. So the game that is on my radar that I just discovered is Trinity Trigger. I'm going to lower the volume a little bit on this. Now this is a isometric 2D RPG, and I don't know why, but it looks like a Pokemon RPG, and I'm kind of okay with this. The description of this game is this is a 90s era RPG, which I love 90s eras RPGs. But it has a modern polish and a modern feel to it. Now, there are so many isometric 2D games coming out, and they're all fantastic. We look at, I was hoping to have some comment here. I thought I clicked on the right video. It must have been playing. There we go. And it's just a simple game, but like I said, I've been fooled before. The State of Play revealed Tunic. Tunic is actually coming to PlayStation, and Tunic has got excellent reviews. And now, if you didn't see Tunic, Tunic was the Zelda-esque game that looked like a fox. It is a fox. And it was shown at the State of Play last week. And this game, it looks simple. It looks kind of boring, but like no joke, the reviews for this game have been stellar. So I'm kind of excited about Trinity Trigger. I'm excited to see this genre kind of come back a little bit. I love old school games. I love 90s RPGs. So Trinity Trigger is definitely on my radar. But I want to talk about this trend for a minute. This isometric top-down 2D game. Because there are a ton of them out right now. You need a monocle and a top hat. And you need a pipe, cufflinks, and tie links, and some huge gold rings that were... I'm not really going for the British gangster look, Donovan, but if you think I could pull it off, then whatever you say, buddy. Oh, Ratchet Blushes. Well, yeah, you know, Ratchet Gaming really does have good content, so I'm never going to suggest something that I don't like. I like watching Ratchet. He's a funny guy. He's a real guy. So definitely check him out if you're interested. If you're not interested in this content, definitely swing by his. But I had a list, and honestly, like I just started this list, and I was at work, and it was on my break, and I ran out of time, but there is way more than this. But let's look at this isometric 2D trend that's going on. There's Tunic, Disco Elysium, Triangle Strategy, Deadcraft, Wasteland 3, Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, Encased, Divinity Original Sin 2, Hades, and there's a ton more. But like I said, it was a break, and I ran out of time. This is just 9 of them, and these are all very well reviewed games. I don't know about Pathfinder. encased, but I know the rest of those Deadcraft 3 is probably the lowest reviewed game on there, or Deadcraft 3. Deadcraft's probably the lowest reviewed game. The rest of these are fantastic games. Hades was huge. Disco Elysium is supposedly one of the greatest games of all time. Tunic's fantastic. So I'm wondering, like, what is it that's making these games popular? Is it nostalgia? Is this like the ode to the Zelda games? Breath of the Wild is probably one of the greatest games of all time. If you haven't played Breath of the Wild, you need to. But maybe we're seeing a resurgence in the interest in the Zelda franchise, and that's making Zelda-S type games like the original Zelda and Link's Awakening. But they're so modern. Like, they feel great. I've played Wasteland 2, I played Wasteland 3, and I compare them to the original Fallouts. I played Fallout 1 and I beat it. And I played Fallout 2, but I never beat it. But Wasteland's just so much of a superior game to those in every single way. So I don't know if it's nostalgia or we're just finding new ways to make these old style games so much better to play, make them feel better. And Donovan, just so you know, the audio in my show messed up yesterday, so I'm redoing it this time. So it's going to be a total repeat of yesterday. But you look at games that just feel good. We talked yesterday about Nier Automata. I think Nier Automata is a game that you've seen a bunch of times over. It's a hack and slash. They threw in some really interesting mechanics with your pod and having to hold the L1 button, I think, and doing different multitasking things there. But you've seen hack and slash games. You've probably played a Dynasty Warrior games. You've probably played The Witcher or a sword fighting game, which is completely different, but it feels good to control 2B. It feels great. The combat in that game, Platinum nailed it. Especially once you get the plugins or the chips, whatever it's called, to make 2B dash farther and move faster. It is just so much fun. It feels so good to move 2B around in that world. And I think that developers are figuring it out, that they don't have to push the bar in terms of something incredibly new to make a good game. And I feel like jaded people will always be jaded, but these games feel good. You know, we shouldn't have to look for something incredibly new, even though incredibly new things are great, don't get me wrong. But you can have incredible games. I think Tunic, I'm super excited for Tunic. I cannot wait for that game to come out. Another game that's, we've seen 1,000 times before is Stray. Stray looks incredible. What an interesting concept that you get to play as a cat. And it's not even, I read something the other day, it's not even that good of a platformer. So the way it works is when you have a jump that you can make, you'll have your jump button pop up that says, hey, press X and you'll make this jump. And the reason they did this is because people were dying. Playtesters were dying because they couldn't figure out how far exactly a cat can jump, because some cats can jump up like 12 feet in the air, and this cat, they just couldn't figure it out. So they've added that in as a less frustrating experience. So you've seen this game before. It's not even a real platformer in a way. It's more of an exploration type thing. But it looks great. It looks interesting because they took the time to make the cat. The cat looks like it feels different to control, like an actual cat. And I think that's super cool. I'm totally going to buy Stray. I think Stray looks like an incredible game, an incredible concept. The art style of the world is beautiful. I really love the music. I think the music made the State of Play commercial. But yeah, I really want to know what you guys think. Do you think that we played so much on nostalgia that I just can't see it anymore? Or are we truly finding ways to enhance the virtual space in terms of movement and controls, that these games feel fresh even though they're in a familiar genre? It's kind of like, the way I think I described it is comfort food, but it's a new recipe. So chicken noodle soup, but a different recipe. You still love chicken noodle soup. And if you don't, what's wrong with you, you heathen? Just kidding. You can not like chicken noodle soup. But it's a different take on it. It's a different recipe. And I think it's interesting. I'm really curious as to why, because the next thing I want to play into is all the games I've been playing, and they just so happen to be isometric and mostly 2D. But first, speaking of other things I've been enjoying, listening to, diving into, I have found a podcast, and I want to share it with you because I think I have pretty good taste. Now, I like people who are real. I like people who are down to earth, and I found the Deep Fried Gaming Podcast. Now, Deep Fried Gaming Podcast is two gentlemen with a fresh take on video games. They do mainly reviews, and I wanted to play a little snippet for you. They're very real. They're very professional sounding. They're easy to listen to. So I kind of want to give you a taste of what I've been listening to on my way to work. Here we go.
So Jet Set Radio is a game that primarily focuses on tagging things, spray painting things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It consists of like 3 little zones. Inside the zones, there are different levels. And there's different types of levels. There's the regular tagging levels where you have to skate around a world and you're chased by cops and helicopters and insane people with tasers and apparently jihadis. You have little challenge levels where you have to basically, Simon Says, do sports on your skates or do stunts on your skates. There's chase levels, there's race levels, and the main meat of this game is in those kind of slightly more open levels where you're tagging everything.
So, yeah, jihadis in Jet Set Radio. I've never played Jet Set Radio, but just based off that, I really want to play it to see what the crap he's talking about. They're very real. They're very down to earth. They're not, what's what I'm looking for? Censored, politically correct. They don't make a point to be political at all. But they're very real. They got all kinds of games. They did Star Fox 64. That was an interesting one. Lots of disagreement there. Banjo-Kazooie, Elden Ring, Ape Escape. Really fun podcast. I enjoy listening to. It's just something that I can think about because I like talking about video games. So if this is something that interests you, check them out. They are the Deep Fried Gaming Podcast. They are on Spotify. They're working on a YouTube channel, as far as I know. So check them out. Now, going back to things that I've been playing, I've started 3 games because, I couldn't really decide what to play. I beat Nier Replicant. I got the ending. I got the final ending. I don't know if it's the final ending because I haven't gone back and played as Agent K. But I got that final ending, and so I was like, okay, I'll come back to this. It's time to play something different. So I tried out 3 different games, and they're very similar in terms of the way that they look and the style of game, I guess you'd say, because that's just the kind of games I enjoy. But we have Sakuna, Rise and Ruin, Triangle Strategy, and Paper Mario. Got that Nintendo Online Expansion Plus, and it's been great. And I've got to say, the favorite one so far has been Triangle Strategy. Now, Triangle Strategy is it's a 2D isometric strategy game. And I was really confused about this game at the start. It is very Game of Thrones, which I'm not used to in a video game. I think the last game that was very Game of Thrones that I played was Final Fantasy 12. I came in this expecting Final Fantasy Tactics, and Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the best Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't know why they haven't considered a remake, but this game is absolutely gorgeous. A lot of people will be turned off by the art style, but I'm telling you, it's intense. Okay, so what happened was there was these 3 nations. There's we'll call it the religious nation, and they have a monopoly on salt. And then there's the Nordic nation. They have a monopoly on, I believe it's iron. And then there was the English Castle Nation, and they have a monopoly on something else, and I can't remember what it is. So they've been at a war for years, and after 30 years, they finally found peace. And you take over, we'll call it a fiefdom in this little English castle place. And the decisions that you make in here, they don't seem like much, but the fact that you're going to have consequences later on down the road is freaking intense. Uh-oh. 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 Okay, are we back? Are we there? Experiencing interruptions? Why, yes, I am. How did you know? Am I still kicking? My chat's gone. Which means I can only assume that I am no longer live. That's what I need. I need to just Chrome everything. Heck yeah. Let me see if I'm live real quick. I'm sorry guys. I'm gonna have to get a better computer, clearly. This one's just not cutting it. Okay, yes, I believe. Which means I can only assume. Okay, I'm live. Sorry, I apologize. I don't know what it is. That just happens. But what was the decision? The next decision I have to make is we've had this meeting, a type of a festivity where there was a great tourney. You take participation in the tourney, and it's freaking intense. Like, you don't die. It's not to the death, but at the same time, I was like, this is my reputation on the line as this new lord. I've got to whoop some tail and make sure everybody knows I'm a freaking boss. And it was, yeah, my heart was racing. The baby kept touching the screen on my Switch. I was like, no, don't mess me up. And it was really intense. It really captured that feel of you're in charge of this fiefdom. You have to take it seriously. You're gonna have consequences. The next decision I have to make is after these festivities and the celebration's over, the king wants me to be an envoy for one of these nations as they travel back to their homeland. So where do I go? Do I go to the north with the Nordic nation, or do I go back to the desert with the religious nation? And how does that affect my relationship with each particular nations? Because things are tense. The war just ended. Nobody's really 100% trusting each other. And if it seems like we're making a monopoly together, like, there'll be consequences. It's super exciting, very Game of Thronesy. I am enjoying it. I've only played the demo. I'm going to have to get this game. I usually wait for a sale, but I feel like this will be the first time in a long time where I do actually pay $60 for a game, because it is that good. I'm thoroughly enjoying Triangle Strategy. Now, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin is a little bit more lighthearted. You play the daughter of a warrior god, and what I can only assume is a lesser deity of the harvest. And you are basically the Beverly Hills child, the product of their fame and their fortune, and you have lived off their wealth for the entirety of your existence. Now, unfortunately, you find yourself in a circumstance where you might have destroyed the greatest gods, the top tier gods. You might have destroyed their storehouse of rice. So you have been sent on a mission to the Isle of Demons to figure out where they're coming from and to grow the storehouses back. And it's really interesting because your power, the amount of strength and defense and stuff like that, comes from how much you garden. You don't really level up. You plant rice, you plant beets, you plant mushrooms, you plant stuff like that, and depending on how they grow, you gain power. It's a very interesting concept. The audio is very cute. It's very funny. I think that'll turn some people off. Definitely check it out before you play it. But me and the kids watched it. We had a good laugh. I might play it. I might stream it. And then Paper Mario, classic game on the Nintendo Switch, is a lot more fun than I remember it. I remember I played Paper Mario once or twice at a friend's house. I was like, this is okay. It's not Final Fantasy, but it's something I can get into. Man, what a charming game. The little animations, I don't know if you remember, but like when Paper Mario falls, he like kind of floats like paper in the air. When he goes into a inn, he slides under the covers like he's a piece of paper. It's the little things like that you don't remember, but it's just super cute, super artsy, super fun. If you do have Nintendo Switch Online and you slept on Paper Mario, give it a shot. Really enjoyed that. I really messed up because these are three great games that I really want to play, and I just ain't got the time. So now, let's get into the realm of rumors. These are things that I've read on the internet. I did not pull up any websites because I didn't really feel the need to this time. We'll just talk about it real quick. Now, JP Games, which is the game studio formed by former Final Fantasy 15 director Hajime Tabata, has a partnership with Sony for his next project. This comes from Oops Leaks. The game will most likely be a PS console exclusive that will be revealed at the next PlayStation event. Unfortunately, it was not. Now, for those of you who don't know who Hajime Tabata is, I'm a big fan of Hajime Tabata. I think he does a great job. I think he's a phenomenal leader. A little dive into the history of Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 was released as Final Fantasy Versus 13 alongside Final Fantasy 13 back in 06, I believe. And nothing ever came of it. Tetsuya Nomura sat on this game for a decade. I think it was actually 6 or 8 years before the higher-up said, hey, we got to get this game released. And so they brought Hajime Tabata in to a demoralized and just downtrodden and frankly probably really freaking tired of worrying about this game for 6 years development team. And I believe in 2 years he turned it around and got Final Fantasy 15 out. Was it the best game? Was it the best Final Fantasy game? No. Was it good for the amount of trouble that this guy probably had to go through to clean up the story and cut what needed to be cut and make hard decisions and get this game done? 100%. I think it's a great game for the circumstances that Hajime Tabata was thrust into, and what he did with that game was a phenomenal job. It's one of the reasons I don't think it's the worst Final Fantasy is because I give Hajime Tabata that much credit. He did such a fantastic job. And so anything that has his name on it, I get excited. Like I said, I think he's a phenomenal leader. I cannot wait to see what he comes out with. He made he made a Paralympics mobile game, which I never really checked out, but it looked freaking incredible. So definitely going to be keeping my eye out for that one. Oh, thank you, Ratchet. My chat's not live anymore. It's showing up on my screen, but it's not showing up on y'all, so I don't know what's going on. I apologize. But yeah, did the black screen thing again. I don't know what I'm going to do. All right. Can we talk about, we have to talk about, we're probably going to talk about this for the next, 6 months, year, whatever. Can we talk about Final Fantasy 16? I know we already talked about it a little bit, but I want, boy, Kim, we got to talk about Final Fantasy 16. I'm not even going to ask nicely. We're going to. Final Fantasy 16 has me so excited. I've never seen a more split Final Fantasy fan base than I have right now. But let me tell you, I think this will be the game that Final Fantasy 15 wanted to be. When you look at the first screen on Final Fantasy 15, it says a Final Fantasy for returning players and first timers. I think Final Fantasy 16 will be that game for the newcomers, for the first timers. And the reason I say that is because, snap me back to the stream. The reason I say that is because Ratchet has never played a Final Fantasy game except for a little bit of Final Fantasy 14. He's just not he hates turn-based games. I understand. A lot of people can't stomach that. Even my sister, who loves RPGs, cannot stomach turn-based games. But he saw that trailer and he recognized the summons from Final Fantasy 14. He's like, oh, look, there's a Freet. Oh, look, there's Shiva. Oh, man, that looks really great. That's fun. What are these health bars at the top of the screen? Are we going to have a fighting game? He was actually genuinely interested in the game. And that's huge. This guy plays first-person shooters almost all the time. That's his thing. He's so competitive and he's good at it. And so for him to express interest in this game, I think speaks volumes to the kind of game they're creating. It looks fun. It looks fluid. Uh, it looks incredible. And I think that a lot of people are going to look at this game and be like, hey, I think I'll give this a shot. I've heard good things about this, and I'm super happy that Naoki Yoshida is on this. I'm so glad they took Tetsuya Nomura off of it. I hope they keep Tetsuya Nomura off of it. I'm super excited to see what Final Fantasy 16 is going to be all about. Do I have my doubts? Do I have my worries? Yes. I would love a party system. I'm on that side of the Final Fantasy fan base, but I am going to pre-order this game and I'm going to play it because I think this will be a very great return to form for the franchise, or at least I really hope it is. Super excited for Final Fantasy 16. Moving forward, the group behind E3, the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association, plans to bring E3 back in 2023 with both in-person and digital events. Now, I loved watching E3 as a kid. When I was younger, there was always that week where I made sure that I had the TV ready to watch E3. That was one of my favorite things, was watching the reveals of those games. Metal Gear Solid 3, if you don't never watch the E3 reveal of that, check it out. It's Hideo Kojima. It's super creative, super fun, but I want that experience. I always wanted to go. I always wanted to go to LA or Atlanta or wherever they're going to have it and experience that for myself, and I never got the opportunity. And it might be a while still, but the fact that this is coming back gives me hope that maybe someday I will get to go to E3. I'll get to be there. I'll get to see the demos. I'll get to see the behind the scenes stuff. I'll get to play the games. I get to smell the horrid body over a bunch of obese fat kids who live in their mommy's basement who bought them a ticket so they'll get out of the house for the weekend. Yes, let me be there. Please give me the pass. Give me the body odor. Give me the incredible games. I want it. Now, this is a quote from the CEO of the ESA, Stan Pierre-Louis. As much as we love digital events and as much as they reach people and we want that global reach, we also know that there's a really strong desire for people to convene, to be able to connect in person and see each other and talk about what makes games great. Kind of like what I do with the podcast. That's why I like doing the podcast. I like talking about video games. The only problem I see with this is Sony and Nintendo honestly probably aren't going to show up, and that would really kill the event for me. I'm a big Sony guy. I think Nintendo's killing it. I'm buying more and more of their games as we speak. So to have them not there, to just say that this is going to be a Microsoft, Bethesda, Ubisoft, and EA showcase, I don't know if that's enough for me to fork over money to actually want to go. Will I watch it? Yeah, sure. EA's not been total trash their entire career. They've just been mostly trash. They did allow BioWare to make some great games, Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect, Don't Talk About 3. Ubisoft still has Rainbow Six Siege. I've been playing it. It's a lot of fun. You know, I don't know. We quit there for a while, so I think they're kind of turning things around. Can't wait to see the new storyline as it presents itself. You know, but that those companies do not make the kind of games that I really want to play. So if they could get Sony and Nintendo on board, I would be ecstatic to see this, and I really hope that they do, because I really miss that 1 week during the year where I get to see all the big announcements and all the two people that play video games that I know can get together and we can talk about, oh, did you see this? Did you see that? Heck yeah, it did look dope. You know, I want that. I miss that. I miss it a whole lot. And, you know, maybe eventually I will get to go out to LA and experience that. But only time will tell. And speaking of the future, things that might happen, things might not happen, I want to know what you want to see. Okay. I have been getting used to first shift. I changed shifts and it's a little confusing with messed up my weekly release schedule. Got a little overwhelmed there, but I want to make content that you want to see. I want to make good content. That's why I'm trying to be professional. That's why I deleted the last video. I'm going to edit this out. But let me know in the comments what you want to see. The things I'm considering is I could do that weekly release where I kind of do a short tidbit on each game coming out, and maybe you'd be interested in that. You'd be like, oh, hey, I want to play a new game. Yeah, show me some new stuff and tell me about it. Tell me what you know. I'm also thinking about doing reviews, video games. I always loved watching XPlay when I was growing up. I love kind of critiquing video games and exploring what made them fun. That's one of the reasons I like listening to Deep Fried Gaming, especially the Star Fox one was really, really good because I feel like they missed a lot because I'm an older guy. But at the same time, they had a fresh take that I feel like most people relate to. But I want to know what you want to see. So comment down below. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can tune in with me because I want you on the podcast. I'm inviting you. Limited time offer. Okay. Click now on Discord. Go to double_action/Nathan. There is no spaces in there. That's double_action/Nathan, number 7832. And I will go in the lineup. I actually have a little chat room for the Friday lineup. We do every Friday around 10. That might change with my new schedule, but I want to get you in the podcast. I want to talk with you about these video games, about these announcements. You can go look at the lineup and kind of figure out, like, yeah, I want to talk about this. Tune in then. Join me on Discord. Chat with me a little bit. We can have a great discussion. Anytime I've had somebody on the podcast, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a very good conversation. And I would love to have you here. So, with that, hope you enjoyed the podcast. This has been Nathan with the Double Action Podcast. I hope to see you later on in the week. Actually, I hope to see you in like 15 minutes when we start D&D. Ratchet Gaming is going to be hosting that, going to be DMing that. It's going to be a very... Oh, wait, we're not streaming that. Whoops. Never mind. Ixnay on the Streamscape. That was a lie. Whoops. It was a joke. But yes, Saturdays we do D&D around 11:30. And then tune in to the podcast on Fridays at 10. That is 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Get in that Discord. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we can talk about video games. Now, once again, this is Nathan with the Double Action Podcast. I want to thank you for the privilege of your time. I appreciate you giving me a chunk of your day to listen to me rant about video games, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. This is Nathan, and I am signing off.